All right, welcome back to the KnivesFAST channel, guys. Say hello to Ren and Stimpy and Powder Toast Man, Log TV and Choo Choo, and let's get started with today's video. All right, so this is going to be an interesting video, guys. I don't even know how long this is going to be or anything like that, but you may have seen my unboxing of this guy. This is the Shan Rhino. And it's a very interesting knife. Shan did graciously, by the way, this is the KnivesFAST channel. If you're not subscribed, check it out, guys. Stick around. Shan did send this to me. This is a 6-inch camping knife on their website, $96, 14C28N and G10 with this kind of vinyl fake leather sheath. But we'll talk more about that in a moment. Now, early on in having this, I immediately took it. I'm going to open it in a minute, I promise, guys. I took it outside and I did some shorts with it that have been up on my YouTube channel here, where I shaved on a big, decent sized piece of wood, shaved bark off, and it did decent. And then I did some more where I kind of chopped at that same wood and a bigger log. And it held up okay. You know, I will say this. We'll go ahead and partially open it. You'll find out why I'm not fully opening it in a minute. And, you know, I will say the blade came in places pretty sharp. As a matter of fact, when I was cut testing earlier, the back corner of the blade did that to me. So it did come sharp in places. Some places on the blade don't feel as sharp as others. With the banging on a log and everything, I've been looking for signs of rolling the edge, and I haven't. You know, a lot of people were saying that two things. Number one, that it was kind of a ripoff of the Husk knife, and the folks from Shan have been very clear that they don't believe it is, because there's this 14C and it's this contoured G10. It is very thick. It is a very similar look. You have a lot going on here with the kind of patterning, dremeling here. However that is done, you have a very similar look, but they came back and told me they do not believe it to be a copy. And you know, that's good. Now the second thing was, people have seen this in kind of like a pit steel, and they say 14C. And so the reason I've done a little more cut testing with this one is I wanted to see how the edge held up. Now, there's two things to consider with that. This is a very thick stock, okay? So look how thick you have here. We'll kind of try to find some specs in a minute. And then you have a very, very shallow flat grind here. And so it is very obtuse geometrically. It is not very, very thin at the edge, which, you know, is kind of why I've gone back and forth. Is it sharp? Is it not? Now, when you touch it, I will say, especially back here where it got me, it's pretty sharp. But then you get here, and man, it's almost dead. You know, other places that, like way up here, it is barely sharp at all. You know, so it's hard for me to kind of say, which is why I decided to do all the cut testing. Yeah, you may have seen that, but we'll talk about it in a moment. So, unfortunately, those shorts were vertical, so I'm not going to put that, you know, shaving wood. If you want to go look at my what's it called, playlist shorts from KnivesFAST, and you will be able to find those shorts where I shaved at the logs. Today I set up this cutting board, and I took a big thick catalog and I cut kind of the corners off of it. And you know what? It was really, you'll see that footage at the end here, very undecisive. If I got way out towards the edge of the catalog where it was really thin, it actually did okay. If I got back and I tried to rock down through there, it just didn't feel like it had a lot of bite. Now, then I got out some rope, and you'll see in a moment, with the rope, it actually did. I did the rope from here back, and it rocked with it. By the way, let's just talk about that. Really nice. There's two things to talk about here. The ergos of this, actually nice feel in the hand, and I like the hold. I feel locked in. I feel very nice here with this rocking motion. So like in the kitchen, now they call this a camping knife. In the kitchen, I think this would actually be okay. Now, I will say, if you really press and get up here on this jimping, it kind of hurts a little bit, especially on that corner. You know, it's not bad, but it does tend to begin hurting a little bit in that regard. But I will say, it cut the rope really, really nicely. It really did. You will see that in the footage. Then I decided to bring in a piece of treated 1x1 wood and kind of go at it, and it actually shaved fairly well. Again, felt pretty good in my hand because of this nice rounded design of the G10. It is thick, by the way. If you don't have bigger hands, maybe that's not for you, but for me, it felt pretty good in the hand, and it shaved down that wood, you know, okay. It doesn't bite. Again, I've used it a lot at this point, so the edge is worn down, but it did okay. Now, then I decided to do a test that, you know, maybe some of you will say, maybe I shouldn't have done this test, but we are talking about heat treat, and we're talking about whether it's 14C. Now, unfortunately, I'm not the guy to draw conclusions, but what I did was I kind of poked it down. You'll see that footage into this cutting board, which, by the way, is very roughed up and beat up here from 10, 20 years worth of use. And I didn't wiggle it hard. I just kind of wiggled it like this, and that tip snapped very easily. So, I don't know. I'm going to let you guys draw your conclusion for what you think of that. But you'll see the footage. It went down in there. I wiggled it like this, and I heard snap. And yeah, unfortunate. That's not what I wanted. I wanted to give this away. I will not be giving it away with a broken tip. Maybe I'll send it to somebody who can reprofile it or something. You can see as far as how it held up. We have a few scratches here from the cutting, but you know, it's a satin finish. Not bad, but again, ergonomically for cutting vegetables, and holding up for cutting vegetables and things like that, I think it would do really good. That's just not what I decided to do with it. I did cut part of an apple with it and just didn't get that on footage, and it did pretty well. But yeah, that's not typically, when I hear outdoor knife, what I'm thinking is fire prep, things like that. So that's what I tested it with and used it for. Now, that footage is coming up. Again, now, one more thing, guys. Maybe you guys are way better than me. This shape is almost half circle here. You can see it starts here and it goes to there. It was not, I tried to strop this here right before the video, and I don't know about you guys. Yes, I know that's not correct. I'm just showing you. You know, I just couldn't get in a rhythm with trying to strop it back up. Yes, guys, I know this is awkward behind the camera. But my point was, with so much curve, I was having a hard time stropping it. By the way, I know how to strop. I'm just, like I said, I'm behind a camera, and this is pretty tough. So number one, by the way, Shanzhu has said they're going to do a leather sheath for this. That will be a big upgrade. Very, very nice. This is not leather. It's not coming out because it's snapped in, but it moves around. It's very sloppy in this because there's no tightness to it at all. Leather would give you a better lock-in and that kind of stuff, so that would be good. Now, let's just go through. Again, these are $96. It is 14C, 58 to 62. And guys, the edge held up decent enough. Again, the edge was not great. It was sharp in places, not sharp in other places. The geometry is not great, but it does cut, as you can see, and it did pretty well. And you know, it seemed to have held up well enough where I don't believe it to be a non-hardenable steel. You guys are going to have to make your own conclusions, but in my point, I think it is likely 14C28N. Full tang design, They're saying this is forged, which is interesting because there are people out there telling me this is done with a Dremel right here, but they're saying forged. On the website, it says this is a forged knife. So again, I don't know, and I don't have any reasons not to believe them. But this is my first knife from this company. So yeah, they do say this is microfiber synthetic leather, but they are working on a leather sheath. It does have an integral belt loop there, if you want to carry it that way. They say fishing knife, barbecue knife, hunting knife, butcher knife. And you know, I think it would work for most of those purposes. It did clean up very easily. I didn't have any problems with that. Now, they don't really give me specs here on their website to speak of, so let's just see what we have now. It's going to be hard to measure this without a tip, but let's just call this a 6 1/4 inch blade, and let's call it a 11 1/2 inch long knife, with the handle being, well, grip length is about 4 1/2 inches, and if you come out here, which I was doing, that brings you to about 5 1/2 inches. Now let's see weight here, guys. Man, I should be more prepared for this and have the scale sitting out, but I don't have a big enough table here. All right, I'm gonna slide this over, put that right there. All right, so the knife by itself is 9.7 ounces, and with the sheath, we go up to 11.57 ounces. Again, you know, I would say for an 11-inch thick beast of a knife, that's not bad weight-wise at all. So what do you guys think? I don't know. You guys, what are your thoughts and your conclusions based on me breaking the tip off? Again, see the footage. This is going to be a longer video. It just is. I wanted to make sure I told Shan I was going to give it a full and honest review, and I feel like that's what this is. So I hope you guys feel the same way, and I hope Shan does as well. Again, very interesting knife. I think it's definitely one that is capable, but just needs a little refinement. So the Shan Rhino versus the corner of a very thick catalog. Here we go. Sorry for the glare. Not bad. Let's try it again. Yeah, that time I went all the way through. Well, nope, not quite. All right, let's try this again. All right, a couple of cut tests for the Rhino here. I've already been doing this one a little bit, but I'm going to do some more here. Wow, okay. So if I get out on the edge of this catalog, I can definitely splinter it, but when I get a little more here, let's see. It's doing all right this time, but I am pushing very hard. Yeah, it's fairly sharp, but it's definitely got a thicker edge to it for cutting that kind of paper like that. But it did pretty good. As you can see, it went about halfway down through the catalog. And then I just got through doing some of this for a short, but we'll do some more. Here's some rope. I mean, not bad. And I have been cutting a lot of wood with this, so it's holding up not too bad at all. You can see here it's still slicing and cutting. And you can see I have definitely used this outside. Still not super sharp. Hasn't been from the get-go. And it is, as you can see, a fairly thick edge. But not doing too bad. All right, some cardboard slicing here. Kind of bound up there towards the end. Trying to do longer slices here. Kind of bound up towards the end again. I mean, it's slicing pretty good. but it's definitely binding a little bit. Not bad there, not bad. All right. All right, I've done quite a bit with this edge, and this is the original factory edge. So let's just see what we've got left as far as kind of shaving this wood here. This is treated wood, so it's obviously fairly hard wood. Still biting a little bit. You can see definitely, definitely effort. Now, I will say that jimping and the corner of that jimping is definitely a little rough on my thumb there. The hole is actually pretty stinking cool and useful. But overall, this is not holding up all that bad. Again, do I wish the geometry was a little thinner? Absolutely. Do I wish the edge came a little sharper? 100%. But it's definitely not doing terrible here, but it's not doing great either in reality. Now you can see over here where I've got a flatter spot, I'm getting into it a little bit better, but it is definitely getting dull at this point. All right, one more test that might be going a little too far, and I'm not gonna go deep here, but I am kind of taking this tip. I've done it 3 times already, and jamming it down into this cutting board and doing this a little bit until I get it out. And I just broke the tip. All right, so I was a little worried about that and actually did not mean to do that. But it was actually, that was the 3rd time I had done it, and that was pretty easy. So not sure what to make out of that. And this is not, this cutting board is pretty beat up. I have used this for years. And as you can see, it is beat up and it is softer on that top layer. So it's interesting that happened. Definitely was not doing that on purpose, was just kind of still trying to check out the heat treat and my thoughts on it. I am still going to strop it in a minute here and see how it cuts. Very interesting. All right, so again, not the results I was looking for. Again, I don't know how much deep down thought I would put into the tip being broken. You're probably not going to do that. I literally was doing that simply because I was trying to just feel out the heat treat. And maybe it's, maybe that isn't an effective test for that, but it can be. And that's why I did it. So draw your own conclusion in that. But definitely the rest of the cutting, like I said, fairly sharp back here, but then tends to not be as sharp on out the edge. Decent ergonomics, but a couple things to look out for there, and a decent knife. So thanks to Shan for sending this out. And guys, hope you enjoyed this very thorough and honest review. So give me a thumbs up. Comment down below, all the things, like, comment, subscribe, notification bell, and thanks for watching the KnivesFAST channel.